From prison yard to purpose-driven powerhouse, Julio JC Almanza is the founder of Wrong to Strong, a national movement built on transformation, discipline, and second chances. Once a high-ranking inmate, JC served time in over 25 prisons across the United States and Mexico, including solitary, gang blocks, and max security yards. But instead of letting that define him, he rebuilt from the inside out. Now he's a mentor, speaker, and entrepreneur who's helped thousands break cycles, reclaim their story, and walk into freedom. He's been featured on Locked Up Abroad, Gangsters, America's Most Evil, and The Dead Files. This is a man who's lived both sides and chose redemption over repetition.
It was crazy because I was in a French Foreign Legion barracks room, man, just kind of trying to figure my path out. And I see this dude's YouTube testimony. He was doing a podcast or interview, and I literally sent it to my boy Jimmy Watson. Shout out Jimmy. I was like, bro, look at this guy's story, bro. He was like, damn. And so, dude, you can tell the people a little bit about your path, man.
I mean, just, you know, I had a really bad childhood, man. Really bad childhood. Physical, emotional, everything. And I had to learn to, I always tell people, smile when there was nothing to smile about. So that carried on to my whole life in the future, you know, and ended up in prison in Mexico. Had to survive that. 17 years in and out of like just toxic relationship, even just with myself. Addiction, just chaos. Didn't know what a normal life even looked like. So coming home, I had to rebuild myself pretty much from scratch, man. I always tell people that story. I had to teach myself from scratch to the point where once I touched that walk sign, I didn't walk until it told me to walk.
Yeah.
Because that's how much of a criminal I was. Like I wasn't pretending. I was a criminal 24/7.
Damn, that's
and
powerful.
That's all I knew.
Yeah.
So I would hit that sign, and I remember coming out, and I would be at the halfway house, and I hit the sign, and I wanted to cross. And I'd be like, nah, you can't.
Yeah.
So then, a year later, there was this no turn sign by my condo. And I would take it every time, I would take it. A year later, I stopped there and I said, I'm not taking that turn. And I went all the way around, and my wife was with me in the car. She was like, damn. She's like, you're changing, you're evolving.
Yeah.
And I was like, yep, I ain't making that turn no more. And it took time, you know, and that's what I tell people.
That's
man.
a lot deeper than what it even means, right?
Yeah, like I hate when people say, oh, you know, I don't have a calling yet. You have to have experience in life first before you can find your calling.
Damn, that's straight up. Like, develop that who, man, before you figure out the what.
Yeah. It is what it is, man. It's all about life experiences.
Yeah, you said something on an interview one time. You're like, I wanted to change, I wanted to do good, but I didn't know how.
I didn't know how.
Yeah, that was I remember that really resonating with me, because I think a lot of people are like that. They're in this position where it's like, in their heart, they know they want to live that good life and better, but the programming is so deep. Yeah. And also just, there's no clear path out.
You've never seen it. So
if you haven't seen it, that's powerful, man.
You know, so that's how, like, when I had my first graduating class, it's at the women's prison. When I had my first graduating class, I walked in there with a suit.
Yeah.
And they were like, what the hell? Because they had never seen me in a suit. You know, I was like, I only wore a suit when I was fighting for my life in courts.
Yeah.
It's the only time I wore a suit.
Yeah.
So that's the programming that I had in my head. Yeah. You know, if you had a suit, you're fighting in court. No, you're wearing a suit because you're a business owner. You're a CEO.
Yeah.
You're going to church.
Correctly. Yeah, you're going to church.
Yeah, there's different.
It don't have to be funerals in court, man. You know.
You know, so like. I like to show them what they can look like, so that way they can comprehend it and actually it's tangible.
Yeah.
You know,
here's what it looks like.
Yeah. And even if you go back and look at some of my old videos, man, even my vocabulary has changed. The way I speak now.
Yeah, I bet.
Because like you evolve, man. If you really want to change, you gotta learn to evolve, man. And I think the butterfly is the best like concept we could use, how it goes into that cocoon and it goes through all that pain and then it comes out.
Yeah, there's something I've been playing with that keeps coming up in my life, man. Like when God wants to make a man great, he isolates him.
Yes.
I mean, it's biblical on a very deep sense. And people, when they're like, hey, I feel alone, especially when they're in that fear to growth, and I go, good, man. That means you're in that path, man, that isolation where you can get honest self-reflection, which is huge. It's hard to do with a lot of noise or people around you, especially if there are people that aren't good for you. And then, bro, embrace that time, man. Let that healing take place. You need some time, bro. When that isolation, when you're in that space, be like, great, that means I'm separated from.
You know, that's one of the challenges that I have my clients do is the 24-hour isolation test.
What do you do?
So they have to pick the smallest bathroom in their house. Smallest bathroom. It doesn't mean going to a really big bathroom. Smallest bathroom, preferably just has the tub, the shitter, and the sink. That's it. You're gonna take your books, your pillows, your food, your water. You can't leave that bathroom. You can't speak to nobody. You have to stay in there for 24 hours.
Dude, that's so good. I love that.
And you know, it's crazy because a lot of my clients can't complete it.
Yeah.
Because they're so busy. And I always tell people, like, I always talk about what I learned in prison. Prison gave me a lot of superpowers.
Yeah.
I'm able to isolate myself. I'm able to stay still and not move.
I believe that.
Because you can stay in a room by yourself, but if you can't sit down and be still, then you're not there yet.
Yeah.
You can walk around like a crazy man in that room.
Yeah.
You know, and I learned to actually sit down, so that's what I try to teach my clients. Learn to enjoy every second.
The power of the presence, man. And that mental control, which is you're talking about a little bit. People go in there and they'll train their biceps, and I go, dude, are you taking a piece? My thing with my clients is I do morning isolation, just right, time in the morning, no phone, no email, no news, no none of that, and that's first. And I go, sit, and they go, what should I do? I go, fucking just sit there, man. And they're like, well, and I go, dude, the lost art of sitting, man. Just sit, you know what I mean? And I go, just sit there and then see what comes, because in that process, God doesn't yell at you, he whispers. And I go, dude, you gotta be quiet, man. You can't hear it, bro, if you're distracted. It's that divine design, bro, that destiny, that path that God has set for you. A lot of people pray and they're asking, I go, when they should be listening. Just open up the channels, man.
Well, you just said it right now. God doesn't yell, man. God doesn't.
You don't need to yell.
Everything he says is with love, so everything is at a normal tone, man. And if you're too busy, you're not gonna hear it, man. You know, and I tell people all the time, you know, because a lot of people out here, they run in place, run, and they think they're getting stuff done, and they're not. You know,
that's powerful.
That's why, like,
oh man, that's powerful, bro.
It's about slowing it down, man. You know, and I think it's one of the biggest things that prison taught me, man, is really slowing it down and taking my time to learn stuff. I mean, look, it took me 7 years to actually, I don't even want to say normal, but be a functioning
just
member of society.
Fluid,
You know, because when I first got out, I wanted to fight the first guy that looked at me wrong. And that's all street, coding. Like, I've been programmed that if someone looked at me, I'm like, what's up, dude? And that's all like the hood mentality, because I was fighting for territory, you know what I mean? But now that I have friends that are cops, now that I have friends that are military, now I have friends that are normal, I have some square ass friends, and I'm like, man, like,
that was not right.
It's not right.
It's also exhausting, man.
Even the concept of thinking. I was raised very machista. My dad was a playboy his whole life. I think I got the record in stepmoms. I think I have about 20 stepmoms, I think.
Oh, dude, that's classic.
So,
bro.
you know, for a long time, I thought that it was cool to have your girl at home and girlfriends everywhere.
A lot of us did, dude. A lot of us did, bro. That was like, that's like what that old school model was.
And now that I've learned to respect myself and I've learned to like have morals, me as a man.
Yeah.
It's funny because at the gym, when me and my wife separated, every girl at the gym knew that we separated.
Yeah.
They were like, "You're not wearing your ring," and I'm like, "Yeah, no." And they're like, "So what's up?" I'm like, "Nothing." I'm like, but the old me would have jumped at the occasion really fast, and I'm like, "No, nothing. I'm just gonna work on myself."
Yeah.
Oh, you don't want no company? Nope. Don't want no company.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I waited it out, man, because like me and my wife ended up getting back together again. But the old me would have done damage that it wouldn't have been okay when we got together.
Yeah, it's also a lot of energy exchange. Yeah. Also, dude, and this is the other piece, you're busy now. Like that's the other piece, that just the practical piece. I go, how much time and energy do people waste on pleasure seeking? And as you and I both know, bro, the pleasure seeking, and a lot of motherfuckers watching, bro, it's when you pick pleasure over purpose, that's your path to destruction. That's that wide gate, man. And it's so if it's just a pleasure seeking thing, first of all, you're creating damage in yourself, you're losing energy, you're creating damage in other people. That's not helping your karmic debt at all, bro. And we're trying to go up and out. It's net negative. And so always check yourself on that, man. Is this a purpose-driven path or choice, or a pleasure-driven choice? And if it's that pleasure-driven choice, man, be real sure about what your trade-offs are before you make it.
It's those sinful pleasures that get you in trouble, man. You know, I tell people all the time, you think that I like to get up at 2 in the morning? I don't, but I'm building something. When I first would get up, the first thing I would do is smoke a joint. I would always be like, oh, I gotta smoke a joint to start my day. I gotta start, you know, and I wasted so much money, time, and it was all pleasure, you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't to build anything.
Yeah, I wanna feel some type of way.
Yeah, like,
I wanna feel good, man. I always say, be careful of that I want.
That's what gets you in trouble.
Bro, I want.
I'm a teddy bear, man. Yeah. Will I fight? Well, any dog will fight if you put him in the corner, you know what I mean? I'm not a tough guy, man. I had to survive, and I had to do what I had to do to survive. Some of those choices I'm not proud of. Some of those choices cost me, you know, prison time. But I'm not a tough guy, man. And I was a lost kid with a lot of demons, a lot of trauma. So I just try to survive, man. You know, I had this huge guy bump into me at the gas station the other day, and I knocked my phone down. I picked up the phone, and I came up, and he looked at me. He's like, "What's up?" I was like, "Nothing." I went to my car.
Imagine bumping into him and trying to square up, dude. I'm like, bro, that shit's not good for people's health, bro.
No problems, man. You know, no problems.
That would terrify me even more, bro. You know what I mean? Yeah. You bump into a dude with like fully blasted with face tats and shit, and he's like, "Oh, dude, no, I'm good, bro." I'd be like, "Oh shit, I just avoided something bad, dude." No, well, it's because you've already experienced the repercussions and how much time's wasted, bro. Time is, bro, it's powerful, man. People waste it, and anybody watching who's like, "Man, I'm not really living how I should be living," dude, you're wasting time, bro. There's a beautiful life on the other side of making that slight adjustment. Sometimes they don't even need to be major course corrections, and probably in the beginning shouldn't. Start getting that momentum. Dude, it's so much better on the other side for not only yourself, but for your people, man. Yeah. And don't waste any more time. Right now, make the change. It's one moment to decide and a lifetime to prove it. That's what it's all about, man.
Yep. Sometimes all it takes is just, you know, tuning up the screws a little bit, you know what I mean? Because
and that never stops.
Most of us have these gifts, man. We just forget to use them, man. You know, I always tell people, you're here for a reason. You woke up for a reason. You know, a lot of people are not here today, so take full advantage of that. Full advantage of that, man. You know, right now I was at Denny's. The waitress was super busy and everybody was being mean to her. Yeah. It was the only waitress, and they didn't know the backstory. The two other servers called in sick. Oh, yeah. She had told me the backstory. Yeah. So I sat there for 2 hours, just patiently drinking my coffee, reading, and I told her, I gave her a $50 tip and she didn't want to take it.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, you waited too long. I was like, hey, I understand.
Yeah.
I understand what you're going through right now, and I understand how you feel, and you did it with a smile. That's why I'm giving you that tip.
That's what's up, dude.
You know,
that's what's up, dude. And dude, small things, man, make it big, dude. And you just, it's a small thing, but it's a major thing because it's that energy exchange of like, hey, I see you, man.
Yep.
I see you.
And sometimes that's all they need, man. You know. There's too many assholes already.
Yeah, dude. Bro, your path from what ended up getting you out to Arizona? I got a little bit of your story, but I mean, you were in Chicago, and then
I ended up moving to Arizona.
What was the purpose of that?
With DMX. I ended up moving. I used to do his security.
Yeah.
But I ended up moving to Arizona to live out there with him. I was trying to get away from.
What was he doing out in AZ?
He had a house, he had a ranch out there with 4-wheelers.
Oh yeah?
There's a lot of people that have houses out there. It's a lot cheaper to live.
Yeah.
But I moved out there to get away. They tried to kill me like 7 times in one day.
In Chicago?
Yeah. And I was like, you know what? It's time for me to go.
Yeah, dude. That's that lucky
day,
number 7.
That day I got up and I packed my stuff and I left. A year later, they ended up killing one of my close friends, Kato. That's the one that DMX made the song for. It's called
Kato. Yeah, I remember that song.
Yeah, they killed him. They killed him in 2003.
Damn, dude.
And you know what? I always look at it like this. So, if I would have never left, they ended up, killing my best friend, Kato. Then the Flores twins, that whole conspiracy case came together where they arrested like 80 people.
Yeah.
I would have been rounded up with all that stuff. Or murdered.
Yeah.
So me coming to Arizona was like, God protected me.
What year was that?
2002.
Okay, so you've been in AZ for a hot minute.
Yeah. And you couldn't pay me to go back to Chicago, man, for real.
Yeah.
Like
I like Arizona too. I
fell in love with Arizona.
Yeah.
The people, I have a strong presence over there.
Yeah.
If you go to any gym in Arizona, you'll see one of my t-shirts.
Yeah.
Like
that's what's up.
It's home.
Dude, how did you end up in Mexico?
So
what was that? What was that story, bro?
I've always been raised on both sides. I would get in trouble, and they would send me to Mexico for the summertime.
Yeah.
And
what part?
Guanajuato. And I started being a little criminal in Mexico. So then
because that's just you, bro. That was you.
That was just me, you know. I've always tried to make the most money working the less amount. It's been my problem.
Yeah.
So I started making friends, but it really didn't happen until I got offered a job when I was 16 by one of the, I guess you could say one of the members of that family, of the cartel. Offered me a job and I did good, got another job, did good. And then they started seeing that I was very, it's, for instance, like when me and you made this plan, we didn't have to keep communicating. We said, okay, this is the date, blah, blah, hey, boom, I'm landing in. That was it, nothing more said.
Yeah, that's how we roll,
That's it, done. You don't have to call me, remind me. It's already done. So my boss loved that about me.
I read that on you immediately too, dude. I respect that a lot.
Yeah, he was like, dude, what I love about you is you get it from point A to point B. That's it, point blank.
Yeah.
You don't call in the middle, you don't say if problems happen, I would take care of them.
Yeah, self-reliance.
Yeah. So I got moved up pretty fast up the chain, and then started winning my bosses over, and they started letting me have some of the cars for myself. And I was 16 years old, making about 40 grand, man.
Oh yeah. How was that? How was that gonna work out?
I mean, if that's not a ticking time bomb, I don't know what is. 16, gang member, wearing chinchilla coats now, going to nightclubs.
Wearing chinchilla coats.
Like, what's
It's like hot as fuck. You're
what's
like,
gonna
oh,
happen? I didn't care. Actually, when I moved to Arizona, this is a funny story. When I moved to Arizona, my chinchilla coats were like my prized possession.
Yeah.
I paid so much money for them. I went to a nightclub in Arizona, and it was winter time in Arizona. It was like 65 degrees because I don't get too cold in Arizona. I had that coat on. I was dripping in sweat, but I did not take the coat off the whole time I was at the nightclub.
Oh, fuck, dude. Yeah, I like this T-bar. It's like a good angle or something.
It's old school, that's why.
Yeah, dude. Oh, when we go outside, bro, you're gonna love the old school equipment. So the guy who owns this, Ryan, what's up, dude? The first bodybuilding gym in the United States was down in San Diego. It started in the 40s or 50s or something. I forget what the name was. But it shut down, and he goes, fuck, dude, I'm not letting all that old school equipment go to waste. He bought it all and put it out in the yard out here.
Nice.
And refurbished a bunch of it. So it's got like those sometimes the new Gucci stuff, bro, the angles aren't
Well,
right.
the thing is that the new equipment is made for comfort now.
Yeah.
That's why, like, the old school fly machine, you'd have to actually dig in there to kind of get in there.
And then it hits.
And then it hits.
Yeah.
But that's why, because now it's all comfort. I've been doing this since I was 9 years old. I mean, it's the only thing my dad taught me is how to work out.
Yeah, man, dude, shout out to my dad, bro, but that was the thing he fucking dropped, dude. He was like, there was a lot of, bad habits, but he taught me how to lift correctly, bro.
My dad used to love to hang out at the YMCA to talk to the girls.
Yeah.
So I spent a lot of days at the YMCA teaching people how to use the machines, how to work out. I love it, but I'm at the point now where I'm making that change into being I guess you could say an entrepreneur, a business owner.
You're absolutely that, bro.
And
you've been doing that for a while.
I'm not gonna lie, like, I'm a little scared. I'm scared of leaving the gym because it's been my Thunderdome since day one.
Yeah.
I came home to that gym.
Yeah.
7 years ago, I lived in that gym.
Yeah. Dude, it's, as you well know, dude, it's that step across that gap of uncertainty and fear. Mm-hmm. That's where the gold is, bro.
Yeah.
Across that gap.
It's funny because, like, I told everybody last week, I told all my clients, nobody pay me. I'm pulling a hold on the payments. Don't pay me because I don't know if I'm coming back. And everybody's like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah, where are you going?
Are you okay? Yeah. Are you mentally okay? I'm like, yeah. I have to. See, I'm very serious. When I get stuff in my head, it's what got me in trouble on the streets. When I get stuff in my head, I just go all in. I get tunnel vision and I get the mission done. Like, it's just. And I have a whole plan too. Like, me stepping away from being at the gym so much now means me taking care of me more now.
Bro, it's gonna open up
working out more.
Also this.
Yep.
Because you can process what you want, your message a lot better. Dude, when you're not engaged in person, that's a massive piece, is that step across the gap, man. Everyone's gotta do it. That entrepreneurial piece is, dude, when I was in the Foreign Legion and I was like, dude, what am I gonna do? I don't fucking have any skill sets, dude. I've been like slanging a chopper, bro. And I'm like, well, I was suicidal in my truck and now I have good days every day. And I'm like in a barracks room. So I was like, all right, let me start filming. And I still like, well, the coaching space. But bro, I was terrified. I'm like, bro, because it's not guaranteed, as you well know. It's like, I'm like, well, dude, what am I gonna do? What kind of job am I even gonna get? Like, I got a criminal background and all this shit, dude, tattoo. I'm like, what? Fear, bro, a lot of fear. And I was like, that faith piece though, man. And people watching, you either have faith or you don't. Yeah. And if your daily habits are good, now you're really stacking the deck in your favor. Yeah. And you're like, I'm gonna go all in the right ways. I guarantee you it'll work out.
And that's what I mean, like okay, so I always tell people everything is training. Even staying on top of your scripture, going to church, all that is part of your training.
Well, I like that.
Everything is part of your training. And it's just like I tell people, everything is diet. Everything you consume, what music you listen to, who you talk to, what movies you watch, everything you put into yourself is diet. Everything. Everything. So guess what? If you're all day listening to trap music, that's the way you're gonna start to think. If you're all day watching porn, guess what? You're gonna be chasing that all day. You have to be careful what you feed yourself, because, like, okay, for instance, I'm gonna be raw and transparent like I usually am. I used to follow this dude, right? So my dream as a little kid, I wanted to be a Marine. When I was little, I got this little outfit given to me on Christmas, and I used to wear that all the time. Yeah. I pretended to kill people. Blah, blah, blah. I used to do all stuff. Anyways, I started following you, right? And I was like, man, this dude's badass. He's got a badass story. But I'm not gonna follow him because I don't want to be a groupie. And I was like, I was just watching stuff, you know what I mean? Watching stuff. And then one day, I was feeling good about myself. I was connected to God that day. And I was like, you know what? And I hit follow. 10 minutes later, he sends me a message.
Yeah.
He's like, dude, I watched your stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, you see how sometimes, like as men, we're prideful. Sometimes as men, we're not able to like give that hug or like, hey brother, good job. Because, you know, we're taught that like, that's a weakness. But in all reality, man, it's a trip, because now God, I see this as a gift. I see God is giving me as a gift. Why? Because this is as close. Like I have a friendship now as something that I wanted in my life.
Yeah.
And a gift to come here, spend time with this gentleman, get to pick his brain, you know, grow. It's a gift from God, man. You know, and these are moments where like there's always opportunities, but are you ready to take it?
Dude, and you know why the feeling's mutual is because, and this just goes to show you, I was watching him in a foreign league bear team, so I was looking up to him. I was like, man, dude, what an incredible life story and path. And then it was like vice versa. Bro, it's our ego that keeps us split from where we need to be going. A lot of times it's making that change, reaching out to that person. Oh, I'll figure it out myself. Why? We're not meant to be fucking isolated, man. It's just not the case.
It's in the Bible since day one, you know what I mean? Day one, eat the apple, eat the apple.
Yeah.
It's been a struggle, but I'll tell you one thing. That's why I tell all my guys, the biggest discipline is gonna be yourself.
Yeah, dude, that's
like,
the truth.
That's gonna be the biggest discipline, saying no to like those fleshy desires or those moments of quick, you know, good feelings.
Dude, the devil's in the justification. Yeah. That's like, dude, you don't have to negotiate a beautiful choice. It's like, you don't negotiate going to walk in the grass with some water, right? But you will negotiate when that text comes in at midnight and you're like, yeah, I'll just drive over there. Like, it's just one, like, that devil's in the negotiation.
Yep. Once you start to question it, it's been a wrap.
Yep. It's like, why? What hole are you trying to fill? You're trying to fill an infinite void with a finite experience.
Look, I tell people this. On November 6th, when I got on my knees and I asked God, because, you know, I did.
What year was that?
2021.
I'm like tapped into years and dates. That's why.
Yeah. 2021, November 6th, 2021. I got on my knees and I asked God. And this is after I had been in some very dangerous places, prison, all this stuff. I had really never been a Bible thumper. I really never seek God. I didn't even know who he was.
Yeah.
I just knew Jesus, blah, blah. I went to church when I was scared because they were going to try and kill me. Yeah. Or I needed money on my books.
Yeah.
So, you know, when I met my wife and I saw the dynamics of how she carried herself, how she spoke, how she treated people, I was like, man, I want to be like that.
Yeah.
I want happiness like that, because I had been mad my whole life. Mad for like the cards that I had gotten dealt. You know what I mean? So when I got on my knees that day, I can't explain, and I tell people, I don't even try. I can't explain what happened that day, but when I got on my knees that day, something supernatural happened where He took all that pain I had in my heart and completely removed it. And I cried that day like I've never cried before. And I got up a different man that day.
That's powerful.
That day.
That's powerful.
And that's the day I got on my YouTube channel. I told everybody, I'm not making cartel videos no more. I'm not talking about gangs no more.
Yeah.
I'm talking about what I'm doing now.
Yeah, I like that.
And it's when I started to evolve and I started to change. I started to become the JC that is now. Like, I think I spent too many years trying to let the world convince me of who I was supposed to be and not who I was supposed to be with God.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
And now that I'm okay with him and we're okay, like everything's falling into place.
Yeah.
Like without even trying.
Bro, alignment is powerful. Dude, alignment with God's divine path for you. If people go, man, I don't know what's happening, that opportunity for the job dropped in, that I go, yeah, bro, because you're aligned. Of course things are gonna start to align for you when you get aligned. Getting aligned though is challenging at first for people, but then it gets easier.
Because you have to figure, like, a lot of people are like, oh, what's my purpose, JC? And I'm like, how am I supposed to know your purpose?
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah.
It was hard enough for me to find out mine.
Yeah.
But it took a lot of time by myself, man. It took a lot of praying. It took a lot of removing of all the armor I had built on myself throughout the years.
Yeah.
I had to let God armor me different.
Yeah, I like that.
And I had to remove a lot of stuff, and I had to open up a lot of doors that I had closed. Me talking about my rape, being a male, being raped by another male.
Yeah.
It's something that I don't think a lot of males like to talk about.
No,
You know what I mean?
And it's fucking prevalent, dude. A lot more prevalent than people want to admit.
It happens a lot more than what we think, you know. Me opening up and being able to speak about that and not, because at the beginning when I would speak about it, I would say 2 words and I would start crying.
Yeah.
I would start crying because I felt
just so much pain.
Just so much pain, so much like guilt, shame, like scared, like all these things. And now when I speak about it with power because like I tell the guys, hey, if this happened to you, it's okay, man.
Yeah.
It's okay. Like, you're still here. We could do something about it.
Yes, what do you do with that pain?
Yes.
What do you do with that pain, dude? And that's a powerful statement about trauma and learning and lessons. It's your past doesn't define you. Your present defines your past. It's you get to choose what story you tell yourself and then what reality you begin to live now. And that's gonna frame your entire existence, man. Once you start telling yourself a different story, and then more importantly, start acting different. If the way you're acting isn't getting you the results you want in your life or relationships or business, we'll start to change some shit, man.
Well, they
start to change it up.
What do they call that in AA? They call it being a dry drunk.
Yeah.
When they actually like sober up, but they're still acting the same way.
Acting the same way. You said something important too about removing things.
Yeah.
Removing things, man. Really get razor specific about what you're doing in the day. Like, dude, your whole flow. What are you doing, man? How are you thinking? Drop the porn, drop the BS, man. Start stripping things away so you can actually really get down to the root of what's helping you and what's hurting you.
Yeah, I had a guy tell me, man, how did you stop watching porn? And I was like, man, I started cutting back, and little by little, you'll be surprised, you stop doing it because it's training. You're training yourself to not do it as much no more.
Dude, willpower is a muscle. You got to exercise it. And dude, pornography is a big thing that people don't really talk about because it's like,
well, it's because they see it as normal.
Yeah, right? And they see it as normal, bro. But it's affecting your dopamine. It's giving you cheap dopamine hits. It's also pulling your life force away. It's like, dude, that's what gets motherfuckers to want to build tall buildings and push out and like jack steel, bro.
Hey, but let me tell you something. What you watching porn is not really how you make love to girls, okay?
Yeah.
So, it's not like that, right?
Yeah.
I don't know why men have a conception that that's how it is.
Yep.
Me coming from that, like it being my first language because of what happened to me, I had to learn that I couldn't feed that demon because
that's a good point.
It was there. So me knowing that, I stopped doing it because I know where I get if I start watching it, because I was so addicted to that, I would watch it 2-3 times a day.
Yeah.
Even though I was dating someone and I was having sex on a regular basis, I would still watch that.
Yeah.
Still, that's how sick I was.
Yeah, dude, we all were. Dude, we've
know?
all been in those realms, bro. It's like, especially being hypersexualized as a young kid, dude. Dude, I experienced some things that, like, just at a young age that skewed, moved the meter for me in not the best way. And what I thought was normal was not normal. And then I carried that through, and then I stacked bad habits and alcohol and drugs all on top of this, and it was this shit sandwich, bro, that I was like eating every day, dude, and then trying to get ahead. And and he brought up a good point about purpose, man. I assure you, you are not going to identify your purpose stacking a shit sandwich and then carrying around with you, carrying a bunch of bricks with you, trying to climb up a mountain of purpose, bro. Once you become that man, don't worry about your purpose. If you don't know what your purpose is, guess what? You still have to self-develop. Don't worry about the what yet. Worry about the who. And the minute you're that motherfucker that needs nothing, boom, that's when God will show you the path, man.
It's been a roller coaster, man. But you know, I've enjoyed my ride. I've enjoyed learning.
You've had a wild one, bro.
I've enjoyed
and you're still here, bro.
Enjoyed
at
it.
Metroflex, dude.
Man, learning and just going through it.
It's crazy, bro. I was watching you in France, bro, like all alone in this cold ass barracks room with a bunch of fucking you Eastern Bloc dudes, and I'm sitting there going, damn, dude. And then like 2 years later, bro, I'm like lifting weights with you. It's crazy, bro. It's
God has a purpose.
I had no. It's powerful, man. It truly.
You know, they even say they say it in scripture. They say, you know, God gives you a pass. Like he's like, okay, you didn't know how sinful you were.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you a pass.
Yeah.
But now that you know,
Oh yeah.
you have a responsibility.
yeah, dude.
Because now,
Yeah.
there is no pass no more. Like all thunder, everything.
All thunder.
Everything, no holding back.
Well, when you've been shown, you elevate, and when that elevation hits and God shows you, hey man, this is how it is, this is how it was, and what was incorrect. Now you're held to a higher karmic standard. So even slight violations, you're gonna feel.
Yeah.
You're gonna feel, even when you throw shade at the Walmart security guard for him telling you to do something, bro, you're gonna feel it. And then larger violations are gonna impose larger punishments. So if you know now what you should be doing and you're not doing it, that anxiety, that fucking walking through quicksand, bro, that's that karmic debt you're needing to burn off.
That's why,
Shed it, man.
What do they say? That's why you feel more of a sinner the closer you get to God.
Damn, that's powerful.
Because you actually start to feel the guilt. You start to feel you shouldn't be doing those
Wow,
things.
that's powerful.
And that's one of the biggest things that I've taken in like wholeheartedly. Like I mess up at the gym and I'll be like, man, I shouldn't have told that guy that. Because I'm not perfect, man. I'm far from perfect. And my temper is one of the biggest things that get me in trouble, especially at the gym. And I express myself very quickly.
Yeah.
And me having to go back and apologize to guys, alpha guys at the gym, has made me such a humble person, man. But it's been training. It's been training for me, learning. And I've gotten better and better at it to the point like I was able to say to that guy at the gas station, I don't want no problems, man.
Yeah.
I don't, because the old me, I would have went to my car. I have a knife that Ed gave me. I would have got it out, and I would have put a couple of holes in them.
Yeah.
Like point blank. That would have been my solution.
Yeah.
Size doesn't matter when you're from the streets. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's how you fight. I watch people get murdered with a little knife this little.
That's crazy, bro.
You know, so like, it's learning, man. Training. It's always good. You're gonna be in training for the rest of your life to be the man that you need to be.
Yeah, your training's never complete.
Nope.
There's a saying in the SEAL team, one of the SEAL creed, it's my training's never complete.
Never.
And I dig that. It's the most true statement, those small adjustments. The Japanese call it Kaizen, small incremental adjustments. And the samurai would do it. Dude, it's every day. All right, what can I tweak my schedule a little bit? My diet, set a new, dates are important, just like Julio's. Dude, set that date, man. It's not real unless you set a date for it.
Yep.
It's not, it makes it substantial. Then start Okay, what do I need to adjust to hit it? Okay, every day. That's the fun of it, bro. That's the beauty is, bro, is this constant evolution of tightening down the screws.
Yep. It's like that old car you have in your garage for the rest of your life. It's never, you're never gonna drive it. You're never gonna drive it, but you go in there every hour.
Tinker on it.
And tinker on it, tighten something up, turn something on, fix something on it.
Yeah.
And it's never gonna be complete.
Yeah.
Because it's the perfection of yourself. Like, I can't explain it, but like it's something that God has taught me that, like, yeah, you're gonna make mistakes, you're gonna fall, but you're gonna keep getting up and keep getting better and better. And
you
better
have to.
And better.
It's the only option.
Better. Took me 7 times to get out of prison to actually make it.
Yeah.
7 times I had to learn.
It's a powerful number in 7, bro. Yeah. You know, it's a biblical number for a reason, man. This has been cool, bro. Dude, I really appreciate you coming out, man.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, dude, we're gonna get some synergy on some stuff. I'll be out in Arizona. We'll be doing some stuff, and let's definitely keep working together, bro. This was seriously fucking sick, dude. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Making the trip out from the desert.
Nah, man, this was great, and it was. I have to believe that God put all this together, man. For real, we think that things just happen. Nah, God has a plan for all this, man.
And the podcast we've been doing too is weird, dude. I saw you like, were you on the Connect too? Yeah. Or dude, it was like you did the Connect and then you did Ed. I'm like, bro, we're like orbiting, dude. It's so interesting.
I just told what's his name about you, Rocco from the Mayans.
Oh, sick, dude.
Because he's got that YouTube channel.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah.
That's really like taking off. That talks about all the Border Patrol stuff and all that stuff. I just did an interview with him, and he just interviewed my old boss, the twins. But I mean, even him, man. I was telling him, I sat in prison watching you on TV, and you know, now you're my friend, and I was like,
well, dude, it was this. We were doing the same thing, man. I told you I was watching you, going, damn. It was one of the most powerful testimonies I ever saw. I sent it to a bunch of people, bro, and then it's like here, it's nothing by chance, man. I don't believe in chance, not anymore, and I'm sure you don't either.
Nope.
Man, when you get that faith, bro, if you're watching this, man, and some of this resonates with you, bro, reach out to him, reach out to me. I don't care who but reach out to somebody you respect and vibe with and go, hey, man, let's start making some changes. No man is a self-made man, right? It does not exist. You co-create with others, with God, with everybody. This is all us sharing information, man, so we can rise up together, bro. And I really appreciate it once again.
Why you think they send in a team of SEALs? Not one SEAL. Yeah. They send in a team.
Bro, Rambo's not real. Rambo's not real, dude. Rambo would have got straight to smoke check. Yeah, dude, let's take a picture, bro.